Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Wednesday, July 26, 2023, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We'll be having a Time for Change call tonight around 9 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to go through some really interesting truths, comparison between the lie and the deception. We talk a lot about the mind and the ego because they're both illusions, number one, and for us to understand these illusions and what they're for. They're put there so that we can basically rediscover who and what we are, and that we can end up mastering them instead of them being the master of us. And when you look at the planet from a non-judgmental perspective, and you step out, you leave the mind and ego alone, so you step away from them, and you watch how they operate, you watch how the mind operates, and you begin to learn that you're not the mind, you're not the ego. That's a construct that's been put in with these bodies that we inherit when we enter them. Now, we don't have an ego mind till about 7 years old, pretty much. There's copycat. Children will copycat adults and other grown people and act like them. So that's where you see some children that are incorrigible. But at about 7 years old, we have established a personality, a character, and we believe at that stage that we're the body. Okay? We don't know that we're not the body. And this is where everything starts to form. You know, we were an empty vessel when we were babies, and then we started getting filled up with programming from society, which is the human psyche, and that which basically we grow up and we are what we are physically on the planet from that programming. So it's crucial that we, with the ego mind, that we understand what that is, even though it's an illusion, and how it controls our lives. It controls everything about our lives. It controls everything we think, everything we feel. It controls it all. The reason it does is because we don't know that it does control it, because we think we are controlling it, that we are the masters of our destiny and our lives. And we're not. And this is why there's so much confusion on the planet, why so many people become so involved with the material physical, because that's what they believe all that exists. Now, some people fear to be young, okay? They fear being young. They fear being old. They fear dying. They fear living. You imagine that kind of stress through life? But the majority of the people on this planet, this is what they focus on. These things they fear. It's an unknown, right? It is an unknown. And unknown is where all the possibilities are. But most of us will not go there because we don't know. It's a void. It's like I said before, it's like a blank canvas. You can put anything you want on. The blank canvas is your life. It's like when we've used the analogy of the circle and the dot. These are all analogies to explain the vastness of who and what we are, the gods in the body, and that we're in these physical forms to experience them and to learn. Well, in physical form, we don't have any cognizant awareness. We're not aware. A lot of the times we're not aware. And see, the mind can be very pragmatic. And it wants to stay on task, striving to attain its main success or goal. Yet, when we stop doing life in the typical ways we normally do things, we have to open our minds to go beyond its reasoning. So those of us who decide to look deeper inside for the spiritual connection to each moment where we can get a high off doing anything and everything we do. The state of bliss and love and joy and freedom, all that wonderful, are all inside us. We've been taught to do everything outside of us. Okay? And we may merely need to open our minds to seeing life from a new perspective, and then suddenly it will prop up for us. It'll pop up for us. Perhaps you might be wondering, what's the main difference between striving and thriving? Striving is fear-based, focusing on getting quickly to the goal while not even thinking about smelling the flowers along the way. Thriving, however, is remaining in this present moment, smelling every flower that is in full bloom, enjoying the aroma deeply, and gazing into the beauty it radiates. Striving is all about the future, while thriving is living in the here and now. Striving contains a strong element of anxiety, tension, and pushing oneself to be better, while thriving holds this precious moment of life with such a deep sacredness, feeling as if it could be your last. Now, life naturally carries us energetically from one day to the next. Instead of us having to burden the weight of carrying it, we know we are caught in striving mode when at the end of the day we normally are tired, exhausted, and depleted. Thriving mode responds differently, and that it brings a healthy feeling of vibrant aliveness into our bodies. When we're thriving all day long, we feel deeply relaxed, truly satisfied with our lives, and completely at peace when our head hits the pillow. From this fulfilled experience of this life, we can sleep ever so deeply because we've shown up intimately for each rich experience that day. There is this amazing sensation of the fulfillment where you feel absolutely in touch with your divine self and are so at peace and inside that you could die that night and know you had the most perfect life possible. How do we know when we've hit the thriving mode? Is there a sign, a signal? For starters, we are living freely, openly, and highly alive in this moment. We feel so good about ourselves, who we are, and what we're doing with our time that we simply do not care a bit about all the things we've got accomplished or didn't at the end of the day. We are completely surrendered to this moment. And this moment is our master and guru. The spontaneous, fun-loving you takes action only from a place of inspiration and not obligation. The spontaneous, fun-loving you takes action only from a place of inspiration and not obligation. It's as if you realize you have a very limited amount of time on this planet, and you cannot do anything but truly be present to each and every moment of your precious life and enjoy breathing it into the max. It's good to understand that any addiction any of us may have to striving is a consciousness, energy, and attitude that was unconsciously taught to us at an early age. Many of us were told that if we work super hard in this life and continue to persist no matter how broke, tired, bored, or unexcited you are about what you are doing, you will eventually arrive at this amazing paradise-like destination. It's fascinating how twisted things can get in society. It's about as convoluted as the dictionary's definition of striving. Webster gives is to exert much effort or energy. What they don't tell you is that striving is an unconscious habit that is never-ending and utterly void of happiness. Anything you exert strenuous effort just to reach some future goal, you are missing out on this magical manifesting moment and blocking your ability to experience the divine essence that is available inside your body, here, now. Striving is another word for a severe addiction to wanting. How can anyone receive what they really, really, really want in this life if they're always wanting, wanting, and wanting? How can that happen? How can anyone receive what they really, really, really want in life, in this life, if they're always wanting, wanting, and wanting? Striving to attain something is an accepted form of desperation in this society, on this planet. If you look at your life from the spiritual perspective, the truth is that you have already arrived. Your soul is already whole, perfect, and complete as it is. It is already one with the God Source. When you realize fully and know that this is the truth with every cell in your body, then you're already home, and you'll stop striving to be anything ever again. Sure, you know, we may have desires that give our lives purpose and direction, yet we won't let them become the main star of our show. There are many people on this planet, in this now, today, who are deeply hypnotized by the mass media, thinking they must strive to be thinner, sexier, smarter, richer, or more beautiful, so that one day they'll become somebody super special, and then they'll really be loved. Striving never got anybody anywhere quicker, except into their grave. If and when you find yourself defending your striving attitude as you're listening to what I'm sharing with you, or fall anywhere into the category of not being open to shifting out of strive mode, we'd like to ask you, so exactly when are you going to arrive? Do you honestly think that the experience of striving to become somebody better is going to make you a happier person in the end? When you find out how easy it is to experience an absolutely blissful state of unbounded joy within you right now, right here, you'll wonder why the heck you ever looked anywhere else but within yourself right here, right now. Now, at this point, you may be wondering, how is this anti-striving paradigm, right? How is this anti-striving paradigm supports self-improvement, since it seems to elude the simple path to become a better person. First of all, there's a big difference between self-improvement and ego improvement. If you feel that only when you are richer, more powerful, sexier, thinner, or more spiritual, then you'll be happy. You're living from the ego. If you are truly enjoying yourself, eating healthier, working harder, feeling sexier, and you're actually happy with yourself just the way you are, you're doing true self-improvement. One path leads to suffering, the other leads to bliss. One path is sensitive to the body's needs, while the other path ignores the body and pushes harder to reach its destined goal. Only you will know which path you're truly on, and nobody can tell you otherwise. Being 100% free from striving is not necessarily something to strive for. Life is not about being completely desireless, sitting in a cave for 50 years, chanting how perfect everything is. That may be an amazing experience, yet I believe the juiciest life contains many more interactions with people, deep loving, relationships that move the soul, and a spiritual connection that flows through it all. Life is bigger than we can imagine it is. And when we simply start allowing the effortless flow of consciousness to guide the journey, everything works out in the most amazing way. Life is bigger than we can imagine it is. And when we simply start allowing the effortless flow of consciousness to guide the journey, everything works out in the most amazing way. Striving and intense effort has its divine reason for being here, as does everything. It creates a sensation of life direction, motivation, and purpose. This direction is ego-driven and illusionary. Yet it does get the job done at adding fertilizer to the soul, to stir up the nutrients and get your karma moving a little. However, be very careful when getting too hooked into the striving zone. The mental fog that comes out of it can quickly cover up the divine, perfect consciousness before you realize what happened. Years can sail by, and before you know it, you're addicted like everyone else to trying to become someone or something better than the divine being you already are. You start finding true freedom from striving. Start with letting go of attachment to your ideas about who you are. Start with letting go of attachment to your ideas about who you are. This means letting go of attachment to your desires, goals, agendas, projections, and in its place, you are simply trusting the divine flow of each new moment. This does not mean you stop taking care of yourself, exercising, eating right, and doing those things that you love doing. No, this is about letting go of attachment to the idea that there is a better future for you out there. Instead, you simply become the pure witness to that part who still wants to push the river and struggle to get upstream. Remember that the mind can have the tendency to play some pretty serious games with you. It can make you think your efforts are for something good and positive, yet the basic energy at the foundation is of struggle, lack, and survival. When there is no love, joy, or peace at the core of your actions, thriving cannot be found there. In striving mode, you don't have time to enjoy anything, let alone be this perfect self-realized God being you already are. When you're striving, you don't have time to stop and enjoy relaxing into your infinite presence. It's all about getting things done and making sure you make ends meet. The state of thriving is a very magical, powerful, and the reward for trusting its power can make you feel that you are unstoppable. When you have completely relinquished striving on all levels, you will find out what your true purpose in this life is. And see that you were always being led by a natural loving support from this universe. You'll naturally follow the flow of daily inspired actions with joy, grace, and ease, and not question the experiences given to you. A life without striving is one where you are pleasantly surprised to see how intimately you are guided through each day and are constantly led back inside to rediscover the experience of supreme bliss. An outwardly successful life will naturally find its way to you, for you, as you no longer are creating the lacking consciousness by perpetually striving to get somewhere better than here, now. When you wake up every morning in thriving mode, you'll realize that there is no need for any efforting to attain anything in the outer world. You start your day with the deep realization that everything is impermanent, and one day will all be taken away. You start your day with a deep realization that everything is impermanent, and one day will all be taken away. This is not the attitude which bears fruit to that negative mind that says life is not worth living at all. Quite the contrary. There is a deep state of appreciation and liberation from being attached to life that naturally occurs. By becoming free from the constant efforting, habit, there arises a feeling of coming home to yourself. You begin arriving at the sweetest place in your heart you could call home. Transferring over into the joyous land of thriving is easy once you realize that there is an absolute state of bliss awaiting you within. It's an infinite realm on your inner world, and if you're not used to diving inside yourself, you may think that is nothing worthwhile to explore. It is nothing worthwhile to explore. Quite the opposite is true. Immense love, joy, and happiness are within every one of us right now. When we find it, we won't ever want to do anything that brings us less happiness than it. So yes, you can abandon all your chores and tedious projects and set sail toward your heart's greatest dream tonight. You can also have fun doing exactly what you did with your life yesterday, yet approach it from a place of gratitude, love, and appreciation, as if it was your last day on the job. The choice, ultimately, is yours about what you most need on your inner world to feel complete, alive, and in alignment with your life's purpose. So how to take that first big step out of striving and into thriving? One of the big ignition keys to start your thriving engines tonight is to remember that fear is simply excitement in disguise. Is to remember that fear is simply excitement in disguise. You can flip upside down that one thing you were afraid of doing the past 10 years into one of the most exhilarating experiences of your life. Merely by shifting your perspective and approach, that fear will transform into joy. Once you see that grabbing the bull by the horns leads you into the most exotic, thrilling, adventurous dream life, you might suddenly drop your computer, toss your cell phone out the window, and grab the first bull you see down the street. So I invite you to ask yourselves, what is that bull in your life that you are afraid to ride? What would happen if you decided to jump on its back, stay on it as it tried to buck you off, rode it down the road until it tired out, and then wandered off to enjoy the sunset? Scariest thing that we may all be afraid to do is the wildest ride of our lives. Hold your horses now, because we're just getting started in discovering what thriving really is about. It is good to understand that thriving includes the element of taking risks, yet also happens from that natural state of grounded aliveness, which is always peacefully inside the core of every one of us. The secret to this awesome balance is being in touch with our life's purpose and mission here. When we are aligned with our soul's mission, we can see, feel, and taste the highest vision of ourself. At that point, it's easy to see your dream life is on its way, manifesting effortlessly for you. Then, in each moment of life, you make time to bask in the warmth of your inner sun while appreciating this wild river of life flowing rapidly through you. The golden key to transforming into your greatest possible self is being open to having amazing fun, living each moment in the unknown. You may feel challenged with stepping out of your comfort zone of living for the future, striving to become someone better, attain something bigger, or push yourself to do something entirely new. Yet, see for yourself how it will feel to live the next 30 years of your life striving for your dreams, or rather simply being the creative, loving, thriving soul you already are. This is not about giving up any of your goals, fantasies, or potential dream life scenarios at all. It's about shifting your approach as if you were a spiritual master who is already deeply wise, understanding, and patient. The secret to deep transformation in our lives is in learning the art of letting go. It is easy to let go of who you think you are when you know that you were not the same person you were last year, yesterday, or even 5 minutes ago. People have epiphanies, insights, revelations, and new ideas all the time. That's the creative mark of the soul. There is always that original reason why we wanted to come to this earth in the first place. And it wasn't just about sex, drugs, and money. We came here for a much more spiritual experience, one that is available to us in anything and everything that we do. When we downshift out of strive mode, we will see that we can make the time and space to transform. We can let go of ourselves, and it just might be our ticket to nirvana. Any thoughts that say we are just not good enough are nasty little gremlins in disguise, making us think we need to be someone else. Trying to become someone new today only creates the habit of trying to become someone tomorrow. And this can last until you hit the grave. Do not become a pattern of another habitual life lost in perpetual struggle and suffering. Don't do it. Let go of trying to become anybody special and start realizing the divine God source already within you right now. The truth is when you finally let go of trying to become someone other than who you already are, you start to relax into your divine nature and instantly arrive in the land of complete self-acceptance. What a relief. All this trying to become someone other than what you are is just proclaiming to the universe that you are not okay with who or what you are now. No wonder this universe offers a package of struggle and suffering to manifest your dreams in return. Any hidden judgments that you have about yourself always create unhealthy stress in the body, which will block your ability to attract your desired outcomes with effortless ease. This interconnection to Source is the divine plan, and it will unveil what our highest life purpose is truly about. Who we think we are is just another idea to acknowledge and move beyond. We are infinite beings, a sparkling ball of pure light, as being pure consciousness itself. The concepts that we become attached to create the most unfulfilling programs that we will have to unlearn someday. Striving is all about this addiction to specific ideas about who you think you want to become. If you let all of these go and trust that something much greater is guiding this boat home, you'll discover the magic within you, and thriving will take over. So relax into who and what you are right now. The divine is always here now. We all already have what it takes to truly enjoy our lives and this breath that is breathing us right now. You don't need X, Y, or Z so that you can smile, laugh, and be in love. All it takes is shifting your focus inward towards your divine true nature. When you refocus your attention inside and are meditating on your connection to universal divine essence, you can experience the greatest spiritual source of energy, creativity, and love right now. As you get into the habit of accepting yourself for where, what, and when, and why, and who you are, the easier your life will be. And the more joy you'll have to simply being alive. You want to imagine what life is like to be free from striving and totally trusting life's natural flow. The best advice I can give is to go out in nature and meditate on the life of a tree, a rock. Just sit and be with the amazing species and imagine how it grew this far so slowly from a small seed, all with the help of the sun, earth, air, water, and Mother Nature. you'll realize that the tree didn't struggle to be the smallest, middle-sized, or largest tree in the forest. It simply lets nature do its magic through it and continuously stretched its roots and limbs out into its fullest tree potential. We are just like this tree. We can let nature take its course through us, grow into a mature divine being, reach our fullest potential in this life. When we are free from striving to attain anything, even spiritual enlightenment, we will relax, reach a higher level of spiritual maturity. We will naturally feel successful because life feels so open, relaxed, connected, and alive. This freedom from striving simply occurs through you when you are fully vulnerable and naked before God, ready to receive each experience life presents you. So you pick a week to stop becoming anyone, especially if you've been trying to become an all-star Olympic enlightened manifester. Your main joy is to start transcending any striving patterns and start to master the wild, unruly ego. You can do this by sitting very still, with no agenda, purpose, or reason. This key is to sit as peacefully as you can in the same spot for 45 minutes in a row. I recommend the first 5 minutes of sitting where you focus on letting go of tension in your body by tightening all your muscles and releasing them. Then sit and just relax, resting as a solid stone or crystal statue. Realize that there is nothing to do and nowhere to go. The infinite source of your being will arise to be experienced in this great stillness. Set a timer if necessary, so you don't have to watch the clock. If your feet fall asleep, go ahead and move them so you are pain-free. Yet return to the statue feeling out its new position. Sit in a quiet spot where you will not be disturbed every day, when you can remain as still and silent as possible, as if you truly were a stone statue for 45 minutes minimum. It will take you into a deep stillness. Start taming the ego mind. Don't worry about the natural movement of your breath. Just let the body take care of you. This is not about pushing yourself to perfect, right? To perfect becoming the most solid, unmoving statue in creation. Just do the best you can with no movement of your body or mind. The statue technique focuses mainly on the body, so that eventually the mind follows along and is not moving at all. The best practice is mostly about resting in the physical solid statue form. Rest in the stillness of the statue as it sits alone by itself. You are unmoving on the outside, yet on the inside you'll need to be in allowing mode, letting everything rise to the surface to be released, simply being with what is. If you see the mind attempting to strive to fix, change, or alter your experience, just watch that movement with no attachment at all. Stick to 45 minutes as a statue. This is the exact amount of time needed to transcend the ego for everyone. It's best to sit on the floor with your spine straight on top of a 3 to 4 inch cushion while your legs are crossed, sticking out slightly, so you're not crushing your feet. You can also stretch your legs out straight, lean against a wall if you need to. Don't get attached to if you're sitting correctly. Your big goal is to do, be, and experience what it's like to be a statue. Just rest and relax into the feeling of being completely solid, just like a statue. Be the witness of your experience, and be gentle with yourself when you start to get identified with the mind and into the ego's striving mode. Total peace and stillness will find you. Doing this assignment every day for 45 minutes may be the most challenging thing you've ever tried to do in your life. Do not be hard on yourself. You hit a wall, this is one of the hardest meditations to do. No average person climbed Mount Everest with ease on their first try. If or when your body starts to ache, stretch for a few minutes. Yet, don't get up and start doing anything productive. Don't do anything at all until you've reached the 45-minute mark. Sit in one spot for all these wonderful minutes and be the best statue you can without striving to be the best. In time, you will notice that the God source grows stronger inside you. And this practice of stillness will be letting a greater spirit be present and become more alive through you. Trust experience comes your way. Yet if things get a little crazy on your inner world, just do your best not to move a muscle. The most you should do is watch the rise and fall of the breath. Just practice being the witnesser of the body and the thoughts flying by. Keep that body as solid as you can without being stressed out and rigid. This is not about becoming a statue of tension. It's about releasing the tension into the stillness of the statue. You may not see the deep eternal lovings the first day or so, or even after the third or fourth day, perhaps. Yet, if you do this assignment for 7 days, you will surely discover something very magical. A dramatic shift in your consciousness will show up in the most subtle yet powerful way. This exercise is enormous. And when you follow for 7 days, you'll realize how easily you can shift your energy into a very powerful and centered space. You will be able to be at peace in the center of the cyclone of life and truly find yourself totally free, happy, and loving in a very profound and revolutionary way. I'll join you in a meditation. I'll return to close us out. easy and slow breath in through the nose. Easy and slow breath. You are as innocent as a baby. There's no need to push, judge, or criticize yourself anymore. At the core, you are so pure, so sweet, and oh so perfect. Give yourself a sweet inner hug right now and forgive yourself for whatever you did wrong yesterday. Reclaim your innocence. You can simply choose to see your divinely pure, innocent nature. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night, and the following morning. We will return here Thursday, July 27th, 2023, 3:15 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, eternal gratitude at all times.